Welcome back. I've got to admit I'm a little bit confused with bits I've recorded already and where this is going to crop up, so I hope I don't repeat anything, but here goes. It was a busy day at the club on Sunday. If I remember to put it in, here's a picture of the steaming bay area. A lot of engines out, and there were 5 boiler tests, 6 boiler tests, 5 boiler tests going to be done. I forget how many. But we had at least 3 failures. One, the gauge glass, just the front half of the glass just blew off, which was quite strange. My Duke of York failed, although I'd say it failed because I never actually got as far as starting the test. I'm going to show you why. I had a couple of issues. I did get as far as putting the hydraulic pump on, but I never called the testers over because of the issues I'm going to show you. Let's take a look. So the first thing I noticed when I filled the tender up with water, I couldn't get any water out of this side because I couldn't turn the valve. I mean, you can see it's turning now, but that's because it has come unsoldered from the body. So we might do a different arrangement here. I can't remember how it all works, so that needs to come off to be repaired. Minor issue because I could get some pliers or whatever onto that to open it up. Bigger issue I had was the whistle was leaking so badly. Water was peeing out here, so I disconnected the whistle, blanked off the pipe, at which point it started pissing out the gland up here. Now with the closer look, it looks like it was a steel shaft. That could be the reason. It could be that the valve has rusted a little bit, so it's not seating anymore, and that's what the problem is. So, assuming that is the issue, we're going to take a look at that. So, it's an entirely stainless body. That the gland has come loose, come off. I couldn't get the gland to go back on, so yeah, it's all got to come off so we can take a look at that. But to get this off, I need to get the pipes off of it, and to get the pipes off of it, the cab roof has to come off. Cab roof, unfortunately, is one piece with the fronts and the sides, so I need to take the cab off, which is 4 bolts going through up underneath, as I remember, plus take off the dummy whistle. Although the reverser passes through it, so something needs to be done there. You need to come up with a plan, and that is bolted down in there, and it's all very difficult to take apart because it's all in there. So let's take a look and see what we can do. So in this instance, what I've done to move the cab is undid the 4 bolts. One of them was hidden underneath the plate underneath, so the reverser had to be unbolted to get that bolt out anyway. This one was a bit of a cow to get at because it was all a bit too tight underneath, but we've got to the stage we can get to the valve. So time to take a look at this and see what's going on. I can see, as I remember, that is the takeoff for the pressure gauge. So evidently what I'll need to do is take off that and that to get up inside to get that out. But at the same time, I'll probably need to take it off anyway to repair it in any way. Might want a bit of extra thread on here, maybe. It might want better seat. I don't know. It's best to take it off. But to get it off, hopefully that'll turn and miss the injectors. If it doesn't, then I might take the back off and be able to take the valve spindle out, and then it might turn. We'll see what happens. So I've tried spinning it. It just about scrapes past and just about passes this side, but I get stuck this side. So it's going to have to be valve apart, so I can get the gland off. Taking that off. But that is the reason the whistle's leaking. So I'll try and get this apart so that I can make a new one. I might be able to just make a new one in situ and not remove this at all. Let's see what we can do. So I found some bits. So that's the original button, which I'm going to try and keep. It's a 4BA thread on the end. I found a bit of stainless, which is almost exactly the right length as it is. I haven't decided yet whether it's right to use a bit the right length or use a longer bit and sacrifice a longer piece of stock. And obviously there's the original gland. We'll see if we can do something with that as well. Slight difference. This is ever so slightly smaller than the old one, but it is big enough to jam the hole. So what I'm going to do is use this. There'll be slightly less pressure on the end. I've never liked that the valve stays open anyway, so I've also found this spring, which I'm going to put on the outside of the valve, in between the gland and the button, to always hold the whistle open. So just a little bit of machining to do to turn that into that. I can actually go a little bit bigger than that, because that is a sloppy fit in the hole in the valve. If it's a sloppy fit in the valve, it will let more steam through. So the better fit that is in that hole, the better the seal and the less work the gland needs to do. So let's see what we can do. So I've put the piece of stainless in the lathe. I have already drilled a centre drill in the end, so I can put the centre in. I've also shortened it ever so slightly and put the 4BA thread on the end already before I pulled it out. There was already a thread on the end, but the 4BA is smaller than that, and what we want is smaller than that. You can see at this end I've marked the two ends of the thin bit there. So up to that point I am now going to turn down to the right size to fit through the hole. In actual fact, that is a sloppy fit, but that drill bit is a nice fit. So I'm going to go to the size of that drill bit, which is a, what size was it? 532 drill bit. So I'll turn that down, then I'll turn this down, and we'll see. I might have to move it out to put the angle on the end. We'll have a look, see what suits. So having turned this down to the right diameter, I've thinned that area so the steam can get past the shaft to the whistle pipe. I've put a nice angle on there. I've had to move this out the track a little bit so that the tool can get in to put that angle on the end. Don't know how well you can see that angle on the end. I'm going to take it out the lathe, try it in the Loco, check that this fits, and then bring it back and part it off. So I've installed the spindle, put the plug back in the back, adapter back in the back. I've put an O-ring on there as a seal. Whether that works or not, I don't know. You've got to turn it a bit so that the gland fits. I have had the gland in the machine and just taken a little bit off the face to get rid of a couple of bad threads. So hopefully that will now do up, go tight. I might need to get a tool on it to, as much as I hate them, I might have to get some grips on to turn it, because there's only two flats on it and you can't get the bottom flat on. So that'll be done. I have filed two flats here, so that I can put a spanner on the spindle while I tighten up the handle on the end. And I am going to put a spring in here. But let's sort this out first. And there she is, fully installed. Hopefully that will now give us a good seal. We'll find out when we get it in steam, or when I put the hydraulic pump on it. So all assembled, but while I'm here, I'm not overly keen on this pipe here. I'm going to change this fitting, hoping it's 1/4-40. I have got some 1/4-40 elbows and things, which I bought just on the off chance they would come in useful. And this one may well do the trick. If that goes tight in the right place, that will look quite nice. The pipe will go straight down and then come back up to the steam chest pressure gauge. We'll have a play and see what happens. Hopefully give this pipe a kneel. Keep it nice and hard. And I'll just leave it there while I go and fiddle with the other bit. So while that cools down, we can try this on here. Does seem to be the right thread. Ish. Although I think the thread on the engine is a bit dirty. See if we can give that a clean up with the dye and then put this back on. I think that will look quite nice. There we go. It's nicely installed, nice neat pipe, and the steam chest pressure gauge is now tucked out the way. Pressure gauge will be here, steam chest pressure over here. So all that's left now, I could do with a plug for this. I don't know if that's on a different engine or what, but I couldn't find it at the weekend. I had to borrow one. Need a plug for there. And I want to think about this, the blower valve, because at the moment that is not captive, which isn't great, but we will see what we can do about that. So, what do you think? Is it better? Should I have left it how it was? I know that's better. I'll just get the cab back together and we will be ready for Sunday. Oh, I've still got to take a look at this water valve, but let's get the engine back together first, because at the end of the day I can leave that water valve open and it will do what we need it to do. So I managed to take the pipe off the bottom, push this up through the bottom of the valve, which knocked this up out the top, because fortunately it's a 90-degree valve. So that was just too tight in there, so I'm going to put that in the lathe, just clean up the face, take a tiny bit off using emery paper and then put it back. I might actually put a flat on here in line with the hole. In fact, in line with the hole. I'll know what's going on then. And then little grub screw. Then I might put a flat on the spindle in line with the handle top. That'll make life a lot easier. So I found a bag of 6BA grub screws. I then checked I had a Allen key that fitted it, and then drilled and tapped the hole in here. So I can put the grub screw in here, then I just need to put a flat on the spindle and then it will tighten up nicely. Right, so we're fully installed. I did have to shorten the grub screw so it fitted up inside this, and I also put two flats on the grub screw so I could do it up with the spanner, because it turned out that my only Allen key that fitted that 6BA grub screw was actually rusty, and so just spun. So 2 flats allowed me to tighten it up nicely. So I do believe that she is now ready for her boiler test on Sunday. Other than a plug for the pressure gauge pipe down there. Oh, never mind. So yeah, ready to go. So there we have it. Hopefully all the repairs are done and that is ready to go out for a run and hydraulic test, steam test and run on Sunday. See what happens. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you've liked what I've done. Let me know one way or the other. Was there a better way I could have done it? Was there a worse way I could have done it? Have you had similar problems? And whatever. Let me know. Am I doing what you want to see? Who knows? Only you know. If I can do any better, let me know. So, like, subscribe, share. You know what to do. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon.